Hi everybody, welcome to Surviving Me, the vlog. For those of y'all who do not know me, my name is Briana Williams, and Surviving Me is my love child. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but I said it. Surviving Me is a site that I launched back on January 1st of this year, so today actually marks 2 months, and I'm super excited. I'm super proud of what I've done so far, but you know, there's so much more that I want to do, and I've always said that I wanted to do vlog entries as well as blog entries, which I've already put up on the site, but I don't know what I'm doing. I can't sit here and say that I'm very tech savvy, so this is not the format for which I see for myself, continuing on with the blog side of it, but I still wanted to come on here to just start somewhere. I will say that I had to take notes. Like, I wrote down some notes for myself because I am actually pretty bad at improvising. And I actually was having a conversation with one of my friends yesterday about how if something doesn't come naturally for me, it's harder for me to want to work at it. So this whole experience has been very interesting for me with creating the site, with knowing what format to use for different things, or figuring out, playing around with different ideas, with all the ideas. I'm a very creative person, so ideas come to my head very quickly and very easily, but as far as translating them, I'm realizing that it's a bit more difficult than it used to be when I was younger. So I'm working on it, but I didn't want to make any more excuses about why I can't do what I told myself months ago that I wanted to do. So that's where I am today. Just to give you a little more background, and yes, I did just look at my notes, but just to give you a little more background about who I am and what Surviving Me stands for. I am a person who deals with what I call invisible, not just what is called invisible disabilities. And I think that I know that a lot of people deal with invisible disabilities. In my case, those are mental health issues like depression and anxiety, and autoimmune issues like fibromyalgia and lupus. These are things that if you look at me, you can't just know that I'm going through. So when I think about what I'm going through personally, what I know, internally eats me up or makes me sad, or, makes it more difficult for me to just do regular day-to-day things. When I think about that, I'm just like, wow, how crazy would it be for me to assume that nobody else has to deal with that? So that's kind of what Surviving Me is. It's the opportunity for me to, because I use writing as a form of therapy, it's the opportunity for me to just heal. And I also want it to be an opportunity for people who are similar to me, whether you are going through one of the things I listed or it's something else. People who have a hard time getting out of their own head. Like, that's what I want Surviving Me to be. So that's what started as the blog. And again, I will be incorporating more vlog entries. I have an Instagram page, which is called Surviving Me 365, at Surviving Me 365, and do things on there. I will say that I post more often on the Instagram page than the site itself, but I do things on there to kind of just make myself feel better about myself, and in making myself feel better about myself, I'm trying to help other people who I think may be in the same bubble. For example, on the Instagram page, I do these things called First Take Fridays, where the goal is to build our self-esteem. And basically, I'm just encouraging those who follow me, and I do it myself, to, when you take that first selfie, just recognize that it is good enough, and eventually get to a point where good enough is an understatement. At this time, in as big as a part social media plays in society, I feel like we are just too concerned about, the perfect angle, perfect lighting, using a certain filter or whatever to make ourselves look a certain way. But it's important that we feel a certain way. We recognize our emotions. We recognize what is all going into our mental health, our emotional health, and find ways to navigate past or push past our insecurities, our vulnerabilities that we think that no one else deals with, when at the end of the day we all have insecurities. We all are going through something. So that's something that I do on Fridays. And this past Friday, if you follow me on the Instagram page, you know that I went on my story, and before posting my selfie of the week, I was just talking about how February was a really difficult month for me, and it started off physically, but it just transitioned into mental, because I was starting to allow myself to get discouraged. I was starting to allow myself to fall back into these patterns of depression that I have claimed to evolve from. And I'm not proud to say that, but I am, owning it, because at the end of the day, we all have been there. And I just want to be as transparent as possible when it comes down to what I'm going through and how I'm getting past it. So I did say that I was going to start to put out more stuff on the site, since I didn't put a blog entry out for February. I actually have 2 that I put out, and I do encourage you all to go take a look. And I did say that I was also going to start doing more on the Instagram page, and more just being more open about what's going on, not just doing talking about the triumphs, but also just talking about the daily this effing sucks feelings that, I have, the feelings of discouragement. I just want to be a little bit more open about it. So that way, when I am talking about my triumphs, and I am talking about pushing past those insecurities or pushing past those feelings of not being worthy or whatever, it is more real to the person who's listening, because you're able to say, oh, she's not just saying it just to say it. Like, she actually did feel this way, and I low-key can relate to it. So if I can relate to it, maybe I will start to try to use some of her examples of how she got past it. Or maybe, I know somebody who needs to hear what she's saying, or maybe I can reach out to her if I know things that work best for me and stuff like that. So it can be like a community thing, rather than me just saying my perspective and people just being like, oh, okay, that's good. People need to talk about this, but yet, are we talking about it? Like, it's one thing to hear somebody say something and be like, oh yeah, this is a good conversation that needs to be had. But, conversations aren't one-sided. Like, we do need to have that open, back and forth, like a revolving door, when it comes to the conversation around mental health, when it comes to the conversation around feeling inadequate, feeling like you can't open up because you don't want to feel inadequate, or you don't want to feel judged, or whatever. So I think it's very important, to be as transparent as possible. But I also am hoping that through my transparency, it's not just about, okay, cool, great talk, or great conversation, Bree, great whatever. I hope that people are actually starting to be like, yeah, okay, I'm telling her, or I'm thinking that this is good, but what am I doing to push it forward, So that is something that I, want to make more conversational. I don't want to only, that's why I do things like the First Take Fridays, where it's like, it's not just me, it's other people. On my blog, I do have a space where I am trying to encourage people to submit like their written entries, and even if you want to submit it anonymously, submit it to like get it out there, so it's not just from my limited perspective. Like, the surviving me is the collective me. It's not just surviving Briana, it should be surviving an individual, you as an individual. So I just want, that to be something that is going to help to push along the conversation, rather than it just seems so one-sided. So yeah, going back to my notes really quickly. One moment, please. But anyway, so yeah, as far as the blog entries go, again, I posted two. The first one that I posted for the month of March is surviving breakdowns in communication. And, you know, clearly from the first 9 minutes of this video, you see that I've talked a lot about the back and forth, like that piece of surviving yourself. Even though it's surviving yourself, it's a matter of teaching other people how to help you if these are people who you genuinely feel are important to you inevitably reaching your destiny, you getting to your final goal, whether you are a spiritual person who knows in your heart or believes in your heart that God has put a calling on you or a destiny on you that you must fulfill, or whether you're just someone who feels like, you know, I can't do life alone. Like, we're in this world, yeah, we come into it by ourselves, but we can't really do it alone. There are people, there are relationships that we have to be able to foster in order to be the person a better person, I guess. Because I keep saying the person we're destined to be, because that's what I believe. But just to be a better person, we have to be open and honest and have communication that is healthy, communication that is both streets, is a two-way rather than one-way. So that's what the first post is about, is, you know, making sure that we're being aware of how we communicate, and, you know, if we find people important, making sure that we're paying more attention to how they like to communicate, expressing to them what may work best for the two, the three, the whoever when it comes to communication. So that's what that first piece was about. And I've written that a couple months ago, actually. So can't really say that I just came up with it within the last couple of days, but I recognize that in the last couple of days, this is something that kind of ties directly into the idea of just becoming more of being able to be more transparent. Communication is the biggest piece of that, because if you don't feel like you can talk to someone or they're going to understand you, then you're going to be more hesitant with opening up. So that's the first one. The second one is literally just called Surviving Me. That's the name of the site. That's the name of my Instagram page. That's it. Like, Surviving Me is the overall. So I believe this is the most transparent I've been. Like, I know you guys don't know me that well, but family and friends, like close family and friends, know that I'm honestly not the most open person about my feelings, which is kind of, you know, hypocritical a little bit, but I'm working through it. But that's what the second blog entry is about, and it's a shorter one, just about surviving who I am as a person, not the lupus, not the anxiety, not the depression, but really, who do I have to push past in order to be the person that I want to be? And at the end of the day, that's nobody but me. So that's why that's what that post is called. And I really hope that you guys go take a look. Like, I really, 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 really am proud of this one the most, just because I literally just sat down. I actually wrote it first in this little cute little book. And I just spoke from my heart. I didn't allow my brain to say, oh, this sounds good or this sounds right. Like, people will relate more to this, people will relate more to that. I literally just spoke from my heart and then let it go. So I want you guys to take a look at that. I want you guys to let me know in the comments. You can email me at survivingme617, I believe. I don't know, I'm sorry. But I want you guys to please just be interactive with this, because I don't want to feel like I'm in this by myself. I know that I'm not in this by myself. I know that there's so many people who can benefit from this type of conversation. And whether you're having it with me or whether you just talking to a friend, like, what you think about communication? What you think about depression? You know, do you know what it is? Do you feel comfortable to talk to me? Hey, you're my friend. Do you feel like you can come to me when you're at your lowest of lowest points and open up to me? Like, come on, let's get real quick, you know? Like, I want people to feel comfortable in having those types of conversations. And I ain't going nowhere. So, I mean, y'all can not read the post or participate if y'all don't want to. But I'm just letting y'all know I ain't going nowhere. God told me to tell you that I ain't going nowhere. And I'm going to help you to help yourself. All right? So, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate all the love and support that I know has been happening behind the scenes, and I know that is to come. So yeah, talk soon. Bye.